I'm back after a while. I'm sorry for the long delay. I've been busy, been doing different things, been preparing to say what I need. I wanted to wait, maybe even get a little bit of more information upon not just the Champions League and the Europa League and the Europa Conference, but I wanted under 20 for the men's and women, CONCACAF Champions League. There's a lot to get into. Stanley Cup final or playoffs still, because the Eastern team is already claimed, and we're still waiting on the West, whether it's Dallas or Las Vegas. Let's get into it. We got the road to Istanbul for Champions League. Manchester City, Inter Milan. Manchester is undefeated, 7-5-0, with 30 goals scored and 30 scored and 5 against. Through the playoffs, they scored 17 and only had 3 against them. Like, honestly, to compare with all teams they versed, including the road to there, that's amazing. And to see Inter Milan score 9 and only have 3 against through the playoffs, have 18 scored altogether with 10 against them through including the preliminaries, before the knockout stage. Like, honestly, it's on the road to Istanbul, and on June 10th, because I'm pretty sure that's when it's going to happen. It's going to be magical. Like, honestly, it looks like you got probably one of the best they both have probably the best goaltender, and that's what it really comes down to, is which goaltender is actually going to give up more goals, and is it really going to go the distance. Like, Manchester claimed the English Premier title. Inter Milan, I think, is 3rd or 4th, which is a shame, but Napoli and Lazio already claimed their spots for next year's Champions League. Manchester City, Arsenal, Newcastle United, and Manchester United. Newcastle, for the first time in however long, it's been over a decade since they've been there. So, congratulations, Newcastle United. Other teams that's claimed their spot: Dortmund, Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig, PSG, Benfica, Porto FC. You got Feyenoord Rotterdam, RB Salzburg, from the Scottish Premier League, Celtic, and the Serbian Super League. You got the Red Star Belgrade. Those are the ones that have already claimed their spot in the Champions League, and there's teams that are, for the playoffs. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before teams start. Other champions come forth, but and runners up. But yeah, I really hope I'm there. To Istanbul is going to get a great game. I'm sure it's going to go to the distance. It's going to be one of the most entertaining. Who knows if it'll even end in regulation, because that's how good these goaltenders have been. Both teams have been that good too. So let's finish off with good luck to Manchester and Inter Milan, and let's move on to the Europa League, where Sevilla will play for their 7th title. They've claimed 6 already, and AS Roma, who are the Europa Conference inaugural champions, who beat Feyenoord Rotterdam last year in the inaugural. So they're in their 2nd championship in the back-to-back championship matches. One in a higher tier than the other. I guess it would be the better explanation. And honestly, you got Sevilla, who, they scored so many, out of 20, and I think it's 19 or so. I can't remember what their goal differential is. If you look back at the Champions But yeah, they're 7-2 through the Europa playoffs. Being demoted back down after not making it champions. And then you got AS Roma, who are dead even with goals for and against, but through the playoffs they're 10-5, so they're both are looks like they're +5 in the categories, but both are playing. One's playing for their 7th Europa in the past. I think it would have been since 2008 or so, 2006. I can't remember, but every time Sevilla gets there, they win, and so Roma's going to be the one to stop that. And there's 3 Italian teams in conference championships, including the Europa Conference League, which will take place in Czechia, capital Prague. The final for the Europa League, of course, I think is the 31st. I can't remember which one's the 31st and which one's the 7th of June, but the Europa League between Sevilla and AS Roma will take place in Budapest, Hungary. So let's. All I know is that one is going to be entertaining, and let's look at the Europa Conference League, and Florentia versus West Ham United, which West Ham United is 11-1-0. They're undefeated. Again, another undefeated English team trying to claim a championship. One draw, and yeah, they really 27-7. And then, of course, Florentia had to go through some had to go through some playoff rounds, so they're 36-16. But in the playoffs, 15-8, and of course, West Ham is 14-3 through the playoffs. And yeah, that one's going to be entertaining. I actually, honestly, would not be surprised if the Italian teams walk away with triple championships, but unlikely that will happen. It's really, like, Florentia has put in a lot of work. They've tried their hardest. They've been doing their best. West Ham is just really looking forward, and West Ham brought forth one of their super fans. So we'll see where that goes. Right now, people that are seeded for the Champions League, I don't know whether they're going to be, first of all, we look at the English Premier League. Manchester City, Arsenal, Newcastle United, Manchester United will all be in the Champions League. Liverpool, Brighton, Hove Albion will be in the Europa, and Aston Villa will be making their trip to the Europa Conference. In La Liga, it's Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Real Sociedad will be making the Champions League. It looks like Real Sociedad. I could be wrong, though. Villarreal and Real Betis will be in the Europa, and Osasuna will be making their first time in like 14 years to the Europa Conference, or at least Champions League competition. In the German Bundesliga, we got Dortmund, Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig, and FC Berlin, Union Berlin, and SC Freiburg are playing to see which one will be in either the 4th one in Champions or which one will be in the Europa. And looks like Bayer Leverkusen will be playing in the Europa Conference next year. Napoli, Lazio, Inter Milan, AC Milan look like they are going to be the 4 playing in the Champions League. Atalanta, AS Roma will most likely be in the Europa. Juventus is, of course, in that position to play in the Europa Conference, but because of all that's happened, I think they may not qualify this year, which means Monza might actually make it. I don't know about that for sure. Please do not quote me on that. I think that will happen. I don't know if it will happen right away. And of course, in the French Ligue 1, PSG and Lens will be in Champions League. Marseille, AS Monaco will be in the Europa, and Lille will be in the Europa Conference. We'll see how that goes. Other teams that right now that are seeded, it looks like the Montenegro, Budućnost, Podgorica. Oh gosh, I really wish I knew how to pronounce. Yeah, it looks like the Montenegro. You got the Icelandic Breda Breed Breda Blick. I hope I said that right. Breda Blick in the Icelandic. Trey Panay from the San Marino. The Andorran Athletic Club, the Escalaz. You got the Hungarian, and of course other teams that are CF Fenerbahce, Quarbag, Slovan Bratislava, Sheriff, the Belarusian Bate Brosov, Kosovosian Astana, Israeli Maccabi Haifa, Zalgiris from the Lithuanian, the Helsinki from Finnish, Estonian team Flora, the Irish Shamrock Rovers, the Welsh New Saints, the Slovenian Olympic Ljubljana. It looks like the Bosnian Herzegovinian Rimski Monstar. Right now, whoever wins is the champions of the Super League and the champions of the Bulgarian first professional football, the Bulgarian Football League. Those look like are the ones that are seated among the Czech or the Croatian Dynamo Zagreb, as well as the Scottish Rangers, Portuguese Braga. Looks like the runners up in the Eredivisie in the Netherlands, the Dutch Eredivisie, the Swiss Young Boys, and right now it looks like there are 23 that are seeded to attempt to play in the Champions League. Teams that are unseeded, the Gibraltar Lincoln Red Imps, Faroe Islands Key or whatever, team TFC, the Georgia Dynamo Biltis. We got the Polish Rako Częstochowa. We got Cyprus Aris Limassol. We got the Swedish BK Häcken. We got Romanian Ferrol. Romanian Ferrol Kastants. Could be. I wish I didn't. I wish my spelling was better. Latvian Valmeria. We got the Kosovosian Balalaka, Northern Ireland Lorne, Malta Hamron Spartans, Luxembourgian Swift Hesperange, and North Macedonian Struga, and then of course champions in the Armenian Premier League and champions of the Albanian Superliga. Other teams looks like Sturm Graz from the Austrian Premier League, and also the runners-up to the Serbian Superliga will also be a part of the unseeded teams so far. Teams that are waiting: Sparta Prague from Czechia, champions of the Danish League, Super League. Runners-up in the Ukrainian Premier, runners-up in the Bulgarian First Division A, and runners-up in Swiss Super League. Then you got also the Greek Panathinaikos. I'm bad at pronouncing that because it also looks like AEK Athens also is both team people, the runner-up and the champions of the Super League Greece are Panathinaikos. There we go. Panathinaikos will be playing for, and they're the ones that are still waiting. And right now, that's just the teams that are trying to get into next year's. So hopefully that works out for them. Looks like we are going to get into CONCACAF Champions League. Club Lyon versus the MLS champions in LAFC. The first leg will be at the end of the month, 31st, and the second leg will be on the 6th of June on women in the Under-20 Women's World Cup. France are the champions, it looks like, or is it Under-17? Oh man, I might have that wrong. It might be Under-17. Anyway, France the French women won. The Under-20 World Cup for the men's is taking place in Argentina. USA and Ecuador already moved on to the knockout stage, and the others are playing for their spots. And hopefully that goes a lot better. Better than people were expecting, because it's been very entertaining. WWE Night of Champions taking place in Jeddah here this weekend. Look, you got AJ Styles and Seth Rollins fighting for the new rendition of the World Heavyweight Championship. We got Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, number 2. We got Bianca Belair. We got Rhea Ripley. We got all these stars putting their titles on the line. We got Gunther facing Mustafa Ali. And honestly, it's going to be very, very, very good. It's honestly, and who knows? Hopefully, maybe Roman Reigns will lose his title. I highly doubt it. Roman's going on 1,000 days so far, so I highly doubt it. I'm guessing it's going to go 1,200, maybe more. But that seems to be it for the Champions League. So let's just talk about a little hockey. Florida Panthers make their first Stanley Cup Finals appearance, second in franchise history since 1996. He dismantled the Maple Leafs after a 7-game series with the Boston Bruins, and then they swept the Carolina Hurricanes, and possibly even could have swept the Maple Leafs. So they could have had 2 sweeps under there, which technically 4-1, if finishing off the Leafs in 5 games. That's a gentleman's sweep. Pretty sure they could have did it. I think they were a little bit lenient on game 4 or game 3. I can't remember which one the Leafs won. But Panthers are there. Right now we got a series between the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Dallas Stars. We'll see which one makes it back to the finals. Of course, Dallas Stars lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning back in 2020. And of course, Golden Knights, first team since the Toronto Arenas in 1911, I think it is, or 1918, I can't remember, made a Stanley Cup Finals. Of course, the Toronto Arenas won. Vegas Knights lost to the Washington Capitals in the Grade 8. Alexander Ovechkin. Now, if you were to ask me, there's a lot of big vibes on the Florida Panthers. Will they pull it off? We'll see. But they are doing very good, and they have a really good team. They remind me of the 2012 LA Kings, who are another, the lowest seed, the first 8th seed to finally make it and actually win the Stanley Cup. So maybe they follow in those footsteps, or maybe maybe the Panthers follow in the same footsteps of the Panthers of 2017 and the Montreal Canadiens of 2021, which of course both of them lost, unfortunately. And let's be honest. Back in '96, they got swept by a very good team too, called the Colorado Avalanche, which of course the year prior they were the Quebec Nordiques. So with that said, besides DeAndre Hopkins being released by the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL, there is not much else to go on. And I thank you for your time. I thank you very much. You guys stay safe, and I will see you a week or so after the Champions League. Thank you very much. Much love.